All right, now this video is a little bit different because I'm not going to be talking about any news necessarily. What I'm going to be discussing is Adam Montgomery, who was the father who was recently convicted of the murder of his 5-year-old daughter, Harmony Montgomery, essentially back in 2019. The question that I'm going to ask, the question we're going to discuss is he a monster or just a dope fiend? Because after reviewing this case and reviewing the charges and seeing the comments, I got a lot of questions here and I got a lot of statements I'm going to put forward myself. Because I think humanity, what they've done is they've lost the ability to empathize or look at people in their situations for what it really is. I'm thejbgunner. This is Crime Time. Let's do it. God damn it, I forgot to fucking put the headphones in. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck that. So I forgot to put the headphones in, so sorry for that echo. All right, now, before we get started, I want to say thank you to everybody that supports the channel, any of my channels, regardless of method you choose, whether it's Cash App, Patreon, Venmo, PayPal. Truth is, I couldn't do this each and every day on all these channels if it wasn't for you, the Gun Squad. Love you guys. Big shout out to you. Thank you so much. And if you too find my content valuable, feel free to look down below. Check out, join the Gun Squad. Now, look, I got shit to do. I'm taking today off for the most part. Was up late last night on Cluminati's stream. She does great work over there. I never thought I would see a female version of myself, but I did, and that's pretty awesome. But I want to talk about Adam Montgomery. Now, in the comment section, I keep seeing people, when I'm watching videos about Adam Montgomery, saying, well, he needs prison justice, this and that, all of this, and there's a lot of people rooting on this man's death. And I'm not even saying that they're wrong. But when I see their reasonings why, they're like, he's a vicious monster. I don't know if I agree with that. Well, let me preface this by saying I think that all dope fiends are monsters. I think all human beings that can't get a grip on themselves and essentially either drink or drug themselves into harming other people, I think essentially if they can't eventually, fix that, it's not that in their heart there's a monster, but essentially in their head, they're pretty much not useless at this point. I, as a person that drink a lot, knows, and I knew as I got older, that controlling that monster was essential to my survival. A lot of people criticize how much I drink, but the truth of this is I don't go out and do anything wrong. I'm an old man. The best I do is sit and pass out in my chair, pass out, get my dick sucked, something like that. However, when you're talking about drug addicts, a lot of times drug addicts have to leave and swarm and go do other things in order to get their drugs. For me, it's very simple. I stop at a liquor store on the way home, come here, watch TV, play the game, get drunk, pass out. So there is no monstrous activity. Because I've learned not to essentially go out in public and, get drunk and get in fights and things like that. That's something that you learn to control with age. Drugs, I don't think it's necessarily the same way. So when I look at this situation, do I consider him a monster? Only because of the addiction. But I want to get to the actual premise of the conversation here, all right? Did Adam Montgomery mean to kill Harmony Montgomery? Absolutely not. And this is what a lot of people don't empathize with and they don't give him any type of leeway with. The reality of this is he was a bad person for physically punching his daughter. Absolutely. Absolutely. Anytime a grown man punches someone in the head, especially a little girl, they're in that moment, they're monstrous. However, you got to look at the context. This man was a dope fiend. Essentially lost everything, he got evicted from his home, still couldn't stop being the drug addict. Here he is, now he's got his new wife, her 2 kids, and essentially his little girl in the back of the vehicle, pissing all over the place. Well, remember, this is where they're living. So that's going to build up a little bit of, impatience. Now let's rewind time back to when the mother of Harmony lost the child. Because she was one of those mothers that's constantly in the CPS courts and constantly getting her kids taken away. When that mother lost Harmony, and Harmony went to a foster home. At one point, Adam Montgomery was like, no, I want my daughter. I'll take care of my daughter, which on surface is a very honorable thing. However, he's a dummy and he's a drug addict. He didn't realize the job and task that he just volunteered to do. However, it was a no-win situation. Had he not volunteered to do it, you guys would call him a deadbeat. But then he did volunteer to do it, and he failed miserably. He should have looked at Harmony and said, she's better off in the foster care because I'm a drug addict and I can't take care of this little girl. But I want you to just look at it from this perspective. Here he is. He did take control of the little girl. He's clearly not a parent. So here he is, dealing with his drug addiction, dealing with eviction, dealing with raising a family in the car like a complete loser. And here she is, unable to control, or unwilling, I don't know which one, to control her urine, and is pissing all over the very car that you and your family are sleeping in. Now, does that justify his actions? Absolutely not. But I want you to understand why it's not murder. Because a lot of people are like, why isn't this first degree? The answer is because he did not plan for it. He didn't plan to kill his daughter. In fact, I believe that he killed his daughter by mistake. He meant to abuse his daughter. He meant to beat his daughter. That's the truth. And I don't believe Adam Montgomery was smart enough to realize that punching someone could kill them. When I look at him, I don't see intelligence. I think all of us in life can have a momentary lapse of control. Now, where you and me are different, as we would never take it to that level, because for whatever, maybe love or something of that nature prevents you from losing it quite that much. But he's lost everything. He's on drugs, heroin and all this shit. The little girl's crying and whining and pissing all over the place. I believe there's a momentary lapse of judgment, almost like with women in PTSD or whatever the fuck, not PT, what the fuck is it? Postpartum depression. Everybody gives women credit for postpartum depression, but this dude literally lost everything. Now, granted, it's all his own fault, but so is postpartum depression. You sucking dick and making babies is your fault. I'm not saying that he should be granted any of that. What I am saying is that when you look at it from this perspective, and then you look at him snapping and doing something hideous and horrible and punching this girl, you have to ask yourself, did he mean to kill her? And the answer I come up with is no. Why would you? Now he had there was some God justice or something, because immediately after doing it, his car breaks down and dies, and he has to put her in the duffel bag. Now, I want you guys to understand this. His initial actions of beating her is worthy of years and years in prison. No question. But in my mind, he did not mean to. You ever heard the old saying, sometimes you don't know your own strength? When you're drug-induced to the point where you're beating people, you're snapping, a lot of alcoholics go through that shit. Where you guys know what I'm talking about. I don't think it's genuinely in this person's heart. I think sometimes drugs or alcohol could fuck somebody up. And I'm not using that as a justification. But we're talking about intent here, because that's what crime is. It's intent. In my opinion, Adam Montgomery intended on beating her until she shut up. And unfortunately, he was successful. And one of the keys to this is afterwards, he carried her body around for 4 months. And a lot of you are like, there's a lot of you that's like, well, why wouldn't he just go to the hospital or turn himself in? Because people, listen, when you are in the heat of the moment, he had just committed this heinous crime of beating his daughter. Now all of a sudden she's dead. You have to make a split decision. And nobody, even if it's just for running a red light, is going to go voluntarily turn themselves in. So now he's in this situation where there's only two options. Turn yourself in or keep running. 99.9% of us would keep running. So now he's got this girl in the bag, carrying her around. He doesn't know what the fuck to do because not everybody does shit like this every day. So he made the decision to dispose of her after 4 months. Him turning himself in would have done nothing for the little girl and done nothing for him. So the people that are like, turn yourself in, that does nothing for anybody but you jello-eating motherfuckers right here on the TV watching. It doesn't do anything for Harmony, it does nothing for him. All it does is satisfy you, the true crime watcher. It doesn't do anything for society or him or the little girl. So now, when you look at all this, all the hideous shit that he did was primarily after this. The concealing the body, the abuse of the corpse. And I ask every last one of you in this very situation, what would you do? Keep in mind, he was still on drugs. Keep in mind, he was still on drugs. I do not believe that he's even guilty of second-degree murder. I believe that he's guilty of manslaughter. Because if you look at second-degree murder means that you know that the actions you are taking might result in murder, in the result that happened. Nobody, for the most part, believes that when they're punching someone or hitting someone, that it's going to result in murder. And I ask every last one of you right now, men, everybody, think about the last fight you was in. When you was punching someone, did you really think it was going to result in murder? Now, granted, most of us will say, well, it wasn't a little child that you were doing it to, and I agree. But all I'm saying is, when we're looking at it from a legal point, did Adam Montgomery know that in that momentary lapse of judgment, or several times he had done it, that his striking her would kill her? I say no. No. So is he a fiend? A dope fiend? Yes. Because he's a dope fiend, is he a monster? Yes. But I believe that if you remove the dope, when you really look at Adam Montgomery, no matter how much of a trash human being he is, do I look at him and say that man is a killer in his heart and he's out here meaning to kill people? No. Whoever killed the Idaho 4 is a monster. And I know because this involves a little girl, you think it's worse and you're looking at it and you're saying, no, this makes him more of a monster. No. Getting in your car and planning to slaughter four people or a whole household full of people in the middle of the night, that's a monster. This, in my opinion, is bad parenting, lack of control, abuse for sure, that unfortunately led to death. A lot of these cases are. When you look at Leilani Simon, Leilani Simon probably neglected Quentin Simon. Quentin Simon probably ran out into the pool, drowned, and then in that heat of the moment, you got to get rid of the body because your life is now on the line. At that moment, if you're Leilani Simon or if you're Adam Montgomery, what do? You can willingly turn over your life to the authorities, as JLR would say, or you can try to salvage whatever it is that you got. And most humans are going to try, self-preservation is going to kick in. And what he did following the death of Harmony was hideous, horrible, disgusting. But I'm willing to say most people would have done essentially the same thing. Most people are not going to turn themselves in so they can go to prison for the rest of their life or receive the death penalty. I'm willing to say 99% of us self-preservation would kick in. So I'm going to ask you guys, is he a monster or just a dope fiend, which essentially makes him a monster? I think if you remove the drugs, I don't believe he's a killer. And I don't believe he intended to kill Harmony Montgomery. I believe it's a momentary lapse of control. That is what happened. And then he had to cover it up quick because he was paranoid and drugged out. I just want you to picture him being him in that very moment. You just done this. Your car breaks down. You check in the back before you're trying to get all the kids out the car and you realize that you had just hit your daughter till she was dead. At that very moment, the panic that had to set in is outrageously high. And sometimes you got to make a decision at that very point in time. You still got a wife and other kids to take care of. It's absolutely foolish to believe somebody that still has a family to try to take care of is going to turn themselves in. That's all I'm saying. Everything he did with that girl's body is some of the most nightmarish shit I've ever heard. But what would you do? What would you do? And don't give me the simple answer. Say, I would have never lost control to begin with. I don't believe you. Most of us can keep the control. But what happens when the day comes that you can't? What happens? Have you ever punched a wall? Have you ever thrown a video game controller? Have you ever snapped? I think all humans are capable of it. I do believe that. All humans are capable of having momentary lapses of judgment. The difference is most of us don't murder people in that moment. But why do you think road rage incidents happen? Not because those people were killers, but because the rage that goes inside you led to hideous actions. Man or monster, fiend or monster, Adam Montgomery deserves everything he's about to get. I don't think he's guilty of second degree. I think he's guilty of manslaughter. That's my personal. Now, all the abuse of corpse and all that, yes. This is a tragic tale of what dope can do to your lives. This is why I've never touched it. Hell, I don't even smoke weed. Because you can end up just like this. Keep control of your mind, ladies and gentlemen. Because once you handed your mind over to a substance, and that even includes alcohol, you never know at all what that intoxication is going to cause you to do. I feel bad for this story. It's horrible. It's hideous. But make no mistake about it, this case is way different than the Idaho 4 or Delphi, Indiana. This is a case that could happen, probably does happen, way more often. Because it is possible to accidentally kill someone. That's the truth. Let me know what you guys think. I'm thejbgunner. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of backlash for this. You're defending the monster. No, I'm not. I think he's a scumbag. I think all of you people that do dope are scumbags. Period. Period. I think he's a complete scumbag and he deserves what he's getting. Morally. Legally, I'm not quite sure. It's not defending him. It's just speaking the truth. And some of you should try it a little bit more instead of talking with your emotions. Because all you're thinking about is the little girl and you're not thinking about the entirety of the case. All you're bloodthirsty. You're like, I just want, when you guys say you want justice, no you don't. You just want revenge. When you cocksuckers on the internet say, we want justice, no you don't. You want revenge. You want to feel better emotionally. That's it. Has nothing to do with justice. Period. Let me know in the comment section what you think. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate for this one. I'm sure everybody's going to run them out and they don't understand context in what I'm saying because most of you are retarded people. I'm sure that's what's going to happen. But for you guys that like it, let me know in the comment section. Either way, if you like what I do here and find my content valuable, feel free to hit the links down below. Join the Gun Squad. I'm out of here.